Next, we will create a monogram using outline text. Let's set up the document in Essentials Classic mode. Activate the text tool. Click and type uppercase letters HG. To make them bigger, you can select the size from the drop-down menu, type in the number, or scale the text using the selection tool. If you use the selection tool, it's important to hold the Shift key. Otherwise, your text will be stretched and it will look unprofessional. You can also change the size of the text using Character Palette. Next, go ahead and select Type, Create Outlines. Create Outlines converts your text into a shape. You cannot retype it or change it using a Character Palette anymore. This change is permanent. You cannot change the shape back into the text. So, if you think you may need to make some changes to the text, always keep a backup copy. This converted text is a group. To ungroup it, go to Object Ungroup. Now you can move the letters individually. Move the letter H up, select the anchor points on the letter G, and move them to connect G and H. You just created GH monogram. If you'd like to earn some extra credit points, try to create Let's Go logo yourself. If I had to reduce Illustrator to just 3 tools, it would be the Selection tools and Pen tool. Let's expand the Pen tool and explore the options. You can add and delete points, which will allow you to modify the objects. Use Delete Anchor Point tool to convert the rectangle into a triangle. Use Add Anchor Point tool to convert quadrilateral into a pentagon. You can use Anchor Point tool to modify the objects. Let's try to create the droplet again. Select and move the anchor point using the up arrow key. Now, instead of dragging the handles, we can collapse them using Anchor Point tool in one click. It will also allow us to convert rounded objects into rectangular, and vice versa. To expand the handles, just click and drag without releasing the mouse. Anchor Point tool allows you to modify the handles individually. You can also create custom shapes using Pen tool. To create an angular shape, click on the artboard to define the anchor points and close the shape. To create a rounded shape, click and drag the mouse to expand the handles. Continue clicking and dragging to define the anchor points and close the shape. To create a line, click to define the anchor points and switch to another tool when done. You can click the V key on the keyboard to switch to the selection tool. In this video, I just want to show you how easy it is. I want you guys to think about it as less is more tool. To begin with, we're going to create a new file, and in the view, let's enable grid. So if you go under view and scroll down, you will see show grid. By default, it's not shown, but once you click that, it will appear. And another step that I want you to take is snap to grid. And that's going to give us a fairly good start with this exercise. Oh, and one more thing, I want you to disable the fill for your pen. So basically we want to make sure that we only have black stroke and no fill color. What a snap to grid allows us to have, it is going to make it very easy to put anchor points at the intersection of the grid lines. And just to prove that, I'm going to click here, and you see it makes it very easy for me. It basically snaps to those intersection points. The first line that I want you to make is just the angular line that has a zigzag pattern. All right, so that's it's going pretty well so far. And every time I move my cursor to one of those corners, it snaps. All right, so and just keep going until you feel comfortable. I'm gonna stop about here. I think it's enough for this example. Now remember how to end the line. You just click on the V key on the keyboard, which is a shortcut for the selection tool, and that should stop the line and activate the pattern that you just made. The next example is a wavy line. So it's gonna start just the same way as we started the previous example. However, this time around, instead of clicking and releasing my mouse, I'm gonna click and drag, and not only that, I'm gonna click, drag, and hold the shift key. And notice once I hold the shift key, it allows me to create either vertical 45-degree angle or horizontal lines. And it also has that kind of snapping effect because of the snap to grid that was enabled previously. So with that in place, I can just release it when the handles reach the grid lines. All right, so I released that. Of course, next step, I'm gonna move the cursor to the intersection on the top, and over here I will just click and release quickly because I don't want it to curve. So it's kind of semi-curved line that we're creating. So I'm gonna move my mouse here and again click and quickly release. Next intersection down, I will click, hold the shift key and release, and so forth. So the shift key again helps to control the handles of the pen tool. In the next example, you'll see how easy it is to create all kinds of patterns with that shift key. let's make a few more. I think you guys get an idea, right? So again, on the top, I click and quickly release. On the bottom, I click, hold, and I let the handle stick to the intersecting lines. And I think I clicked a little bit off on this one, so let me undo this one, and that should fix it. All right, and hold the shift, and now it looks even. All right, so I'm gonna stop here again, click the V for the select, and I think I messed up on this one, but if I were to fix it, I could just go here and just drag that, drag the anchor point a little. And in fact, I think I'm gonna just redo that. So on this one, I'm gonna switch to the anchor point tool and click on that anchor again, hold the shift, and that will allow me to easily fix that curve. All right, and the same would go for any other ones. So I might have gotten distracted on some of them, so maybe this one needs to be fixed. So if you missed a few, no problem. Just go ahead and practice using the anchor point tool. All right, so here we go, and that's going to be our pattern number 2. For pattern number 3, we're going to do something different. It's going to be the wavy line like this one. And to do that, we'll also start with the pen tool. And I'm going to start, I think, here. And move it up. And this time, I'm going to hold the shift and make a 45-degree angle line. All right, so that gives us the starting point. Now the next step, I'm actually going to click on the same exact spot. I'm basically clicking on the handle of that line, of that anchor point. And I'm going to hold the shift again and expand the handles to the corners one more time. So basically kind of like redundant step. I just move it down one square. And let's go ahead and repeat that pattern here and repeat it here. All right, I think it looks pretty good so far. Let's keep going. And oops, I think I must have clicked in the wrong spot. So yeah, I have to click right here and drag it and so forth. One more time here. And snapping makes it really easy to reach out to the intersections. So that's obviously not the only one pattern, it's just the one that I came up with. You guys can come up with your own patterns. Again, the trick here is to use the shift, to use the grid, and to use the snapping effect. And that makes it super easy to come up with all kinds of zigzag, wavy lines. And it's a great practice too. So I think once you create a couple of those, you will feel so much more comfortable with tracing that you may need to do for your projects. So that basically should get you into the mindset that less is more, and it's really about the control of those anchor points, and you can do all kinds of wonderful things. So I'm gonna stop here. Let's press V again, and here we have another zigzag line. Okay, so for this one, it's very similar to the first one, semicircles, but this time it's gonna be a rounded on both sides curve. So I'm gonna start somewhere here, and let's go ahead and move it one square up. again, I'm holding the shift key. This time it's I'm moving it at 90 degrees horizontally, and I'm gonna put another anchor point here. I'm not doing anything. I'm not dragging or just quickly click and release. And then I move it one square down. Again, hold the shift key, move the anchor points to those guides, and continue in that fashion up. So every time when we get to the top of that pattern, I want to expand the handles, and when I am in the middle, I just click and release, and basically like when we did the first pattern on top. All right, so that goes like that, and just remember, hold the shift key and keep practicing until it starts feeling natural. Okay, so a couple more. Shift, no shift, shift again. Come on. It's a little hard for me to see the grid under that bright light that I'm dealing with, but for you guys, I think it should be easier because you don't have to worry about the cameras. All right, so that's pretty much it. So that creates a nice curved pattern, and these are just examples. Again, feel free to experiment and have fun. One more thing before I move on to the next thing. So let's think about how many anchor points are in a circle. And of course, you're probably thinking, oh, 4, and you are correct in a sense. But I'm going to show you that it can actually be even less than 4. So let's go ahead and make a circle. And I'm going to switch to the direct selection tool. So obviously we see 4 anchor points here. And in fact, let me enable those the grid and snapping effect for this example. So I'm just gonna reposition that circle a little bit because that's gonna make my example easier. Okay, something like that. So, oh, actually, I'm gonna even make it a little bigger. So basically, I'm trying to get those anchor points to the intersecting lines. I think that's fairly close. So we've determined that there are 4 anchor points in a circle. But what if I delete some? What if I delete this one? Can I recreate that circle with fewer anchor points? And sure enough, if I just expand those handles, like I've done before with the wavy lines, of course I have to kind of figure out how far I have to move the handles so that it still looks like a circle and not like an oval, which is a little bit of an eyeballing. I guess what I could have done actually, let me back up a little bit. What I could have done is to make my life easier is to put a guide right here. I'm gonna remember where the circle was, how far it was expanding, and now let's go ahead and try it again. So activate, expand here. So after a little bit of a trial and error, I think I can get it to look like a circle pretty much. And of course, I just have to make sure that my handles are on the same level, which is right now they're just a little off. So once I figure out that mess, it pretty much will allow me to have the circle effect with less anchor points. And I think I can even do something. No, I cannot. So no shortcuts here. No, I would not be able to move two handles at the same time, but at least I can adjust them and kind of fake the circle with fewer anchor points. And of course, you can do the same exact thing on the opposite side. Let's put a guide here. To create a guide, you have to have the rulers enabled. I use the shortcut, but if you don't remember the shortcut, which is Control R or Command R, it's also under rulers, and this would allow you to drag those guides out of the rulers. So let's go ahead and try it again. I just need to switch to the direct select tool and keep dragging the handles until it starts to look like a circle, and that's way too far, so something like that and like that would get me closer to the circle. So now technically it's fairly close to a circle. May not be like exactly perfect, but at least it looks like a circle. We have accomplished it with only 2 anchor points. So the moral of the story here is that you can do wonders with a few anchor points, and it's actually much easier to control the shape if you have fewer anchor points. You can split an object using one of these tools: eraser, scissors, knife, direct selection, and delete key. Eraser allows you to remove part of the object or split the object apart. To make a straight line, hold the Shift key. Knife allows you to make curved and zigzag splits without a space. You can also make straight cuts by holding Alt or Option key. To make a vertical or horizontal cut, hold Shift and Alt or Shift and Option. Scissors allow you to split and open the objects. You must be precise and click on the anchor point or the path. You can also open the object by activating the anchor point and pressing Delete key on the keyboard. Knowing how to split the objects is essential for a graphic designer. Once you split them, you can modify or combine them in many different ways. We will learn some of these techniques in the next exercise. Outline Stroke is a powerful tool that allows you to create custom shapes and graphics. First, let's convert the circle into a moon. Delete the right anchor point. Go to Object Path Outline Stroke. The path became a shape. Note, this change is permanent. You can't convert the shape back to the path in a similar way. So, if you are unsure about this step in your project workflow, keep a backup copy of your path. Next, delete 2 anchor points to narrow down the shape and adjust the position and handles of the middle anchor point. Next, let's convert the oval into a beautiful line. Add the anchor point and press the Delete key on your keyboard. This will convert the oval into an open path. Go to Object, Path Outline Stroke. Modify the anchor points to make the shape wider at the bottom and narrow it down toward the top right. Next, we will use this technique to create a monogram. Let's delete two anchor points to convert the rectangle into the letter L and the circle into a semicircle. Outline the stroke and modify the shapes to create a beautiful monogram. You can use this technique to mimic the pen strokes and for a variety of other artistic effects. It is very powerful. How would you apply outline stroke in your own project? Create a new file and go to File Place to select your favorite sketch. Notice that the sketch is attached to the cursor and it will follow you until you click and release it. It may be rather large, so the best way is to click and drag your mouse to define the size of your sketch on the artboard. Open Layers panel, double-click Layer 1, rename it into a template and lock it. Create a new layer and outline your design using Pen tool. It's a good idea to make a copy of your drawing because outline stroke is a permanent change. Split the lines into the segments and adjust the width of the stroke. Use the magic of the pen tool and your artistic vision to create a beautiful design. To post your masterpiece to the discussion, you will need to export it as a PNG file. To export and post your work, go to File, Export, Export As, select PNG as a file format, click Export, keep the resolution at 72, click OK. Now you can upload the exported file to your Canvas files and post it to the discussion. We just learned how to convert text into a shape and how to modify individual shapes. Now, let's learn how to combine multiple shapes into one. On the worksheet, you will see 3 overlapping shapes. If you expand the Layers panel, you will see them as individual sublayers. Hold the Shift key and select the white circle and the black rectangle. Go to Object, Compound Path, Make. The 2 objects are now merged into one. On the Layers panel, they're named Compound Path. You can see the yellow rectangle through the circle. Deselect the black rectangle. Activate Group Selection tool. It allows you to modify grouped objects such as a compound path. Click on the edge of the circle to select it and use the up arrow to move it. Go to File, Save as a copy to take a snapshot of your current step. Select the black rectangle. Go to Object, Compound Path, Release. It will distribute the 2 objects back to the individual sublayers. The circle became black. It picked the color of the parent object, because the program doesn't remember its original color. To complete the exercise, move the circle to the left. This concept becomes very important when working with letters that have counters. Let's try to modify the counter of letter P. Go to Type, Create Outlines. The letter P became a compound path. The sublayer of letter P turned into a group, and inside the group there is a compound path. Move the counter using the Group Selection tool. You can also modify the counter using the Direct Selection tool. Feel free to practice these skills with other letters. You can delete, scale, move, and modify the counters. Let's learn more ways to connect lines and shapes. You can connect them using Direct Selection and go to Object Path Join or use a shortcut. You can also connect them using Pen tool. You can also use the Pen tool to extend the path. To connect curved lines, click and drag the mouse to extend the handles. On this worksheet, we will connect the shapes on the left using Direct Selection and Pen tools. Open 2 shapes and connect them using Pen tool, or use the Join method. To connect the shapes on the right, we will use the tool called Pathfinder. Overlap the shapes, go to Window, Pathfinder, select both shapes and click Unite to merge them. Delete unnecessary anchor points. Let's create some custom shapes. Create a new file and make a circle. Make a copy of the circle and paste it in front to keep the same position. Move the circle using keyboard arrow or by holding the Shift key. Unite the circles and modify them. You can make an ice cream cone by moving the anchor point down. You can also create a heart. You may need to add 2 more anchor points to achieve the desired look. To keep them on the same level, use the guide. Now let's have some fun with these skills and create custom designs. Create a spiral. Adjust the width of the stroke. Outline the stroke. Adjust the shapes and connect them with Pathfinder. For the love logo, you don't need to outline the type in your exercise. It's already done for you. Simply ungroup it, delete the letter O, and paste the heart you created earlier. For the second version of love logo, you can delete the counter of the letter O using Group Selection tool and create a heart-shaped counter using Compound Path or minus front option on the Pathfinder. To create a lay logo, adjust the position of the letter L, use Eraser and Delete Anchor Point tools to remove the counter of the letter A, overlap the letters, select them and click Exclude option on the Pathfinder.